On this week's show, how did Godzilla do at the box office? What's the future for AEW? And what's our Dream 3 for E3? All this and more as we once again delve into the pop culture cosmos. And we're back with another episode of the Pop Culture Cosmos. My name is Gerald Glasser from Pop Culture Cosmos and Game Source. We truly appreciate everyone out there listening to all of our great programs. But it wouldn't be a Pop Culture Cosmos without my good friend. He is... what are we going to call him this week? Still thinking. What would sound good today? There you go. All right.
King of the Monsters.
No, I use that kind of deal on Friday's show. There you go. All right. He is our E3 dreamer for Humanica Media. You got to check out everything that's going on today at humanicamedia.com, Humanica Media on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, and so much more. It is our good friend, or it is my good friend. It is Josh Peterson. Dreaming about all those great games coming to E3 later this month, my friend.
Big dreams, big dreams. 2 weeks away, man. I actually was thinking about that today. It's right around the corner here.
You'll forgive me if I'm actually dreaming about something right after that, but that's just me. But we won't say that what that is, so that's just okay. Okay, we'll just leave it as it's just nice time coming up for me. All right. But it is going to be a great show here on the Pop Culture Cosmos. We've got some great guests lined up for us. We got some great guests lined up for you today. Still thinking about what's coming up. My gosh. We've got Race and Chew from the Legacy Show, which you can find on Anchor, Anchor Podcasts and also Apple Podcasts, among other great podcast outlets. He and I sat down to talk about the future of AEW, All Elite Wrestling, coming off that awesome Double or Nothing card recently here in Las Vegas. We're going to talk about what went right, what went wrong, and what is going to be needed in the future for them to go ahead and grab a hold of the wrestling marketplace to the point where they're seen as a viable contender to World Wrestling Entertainment. We're going to talk about that for a few minutes. We're going to have a sample of that interview coming up later in the show. Plus, also as well, Carrie Music has another great song coming up. Can't wait to hear that and can't wait to play it for you. Plus, also as well, our good friends from Go Brothers Gaming, Octavio and Eric Gomez. They're previewing what Sony is. Well, I don't know if they're actually going to be doing at E3 because they're not going to be E3, but it's not like you can ignore the PlayStation at E3. So we're going to talk about what PlayStation fans are looking forward to when it comes to E3 coming up in the program as well. And of course, Josh and I on the back end, we're going to be talking about what's the Dream 3 for E3. We're going to be talking about what our dream games are for, that we would love to see announced sometime in the near future at an E3. Maybe this year, maybe next year, but we're going to talk about some of the games that we keep on dreaming that we would love to see at E3 coming up at the back end of the show as well. But my friend, it was another busy week at the box office. Godzilla 2 here domestically did just under $50 million at the box office. Not quite meeting all the expectations, right around it. Let's call it a break-even type deal as far as what expectations were here domestically. Worldwide, it looks like that Godzilla did okay, especially because it is more geared towards a worldwide audience, and a total right now is sitting right around $180 million worldwide. Not too bad. $130 million this weekend internationally. So it's off to a good start. Not a great start that some people were hoping for, especially if you're at Warner Brothers, but not quite the miserable failure or anything like that. it has still got to go. It has still got a ways to go before it earns its money back, and we could see more films in a Godzilla universe outside of being a guest in the, let's say, upcoming King Kong movie, like Josh and I were talking about on Friday's program. But Josh, I want to ask you this: now that it's out in the wild, it's getting decent reviews. It's gotten decent acclaim. Do you think just decent will work when it comes to a Godzilla franchise?
Would you say that it's eating up people's money?
Oh, but not enough people's money. That's the problem.
I don't know. I mean, maybe it's just a matter of time before it smashes into people's hearts.
Oh, we are going into pun land, people. Pun land. Watch out. Watch out. Pun land coming.
These jokes are going extinct.
Oh, my gosh. And
Ah.
that'll do it for the Pop Culture
Good night,
Cosmos.
ladies and gentlemen. No, I don't know, man. Like, what, as a father of two kids, what would draw your girls into the movies to see Godzilla? What is something like, because obviously they're a fan of Marvel films, but I mean, because my nephew loves dinosaur flicks, and that's why Jurassic Park and movies like that make a killing. But what is the difference between Godzilla and Jurassic Park? And I know we talked about this on the last show, but I would say it's the human aspect of it. Whereas these Godzilla movies are fun to watch, but you don't get attached to any of the human characters. Like, they showed that part in the trailer, like, this is Godzilla's world, we're all just in it. So it's to you, back to my earlier question, what would need to happen in a movie featuring Godzilla to draw you and your girls into it?
Well, first of all, Jurassic Park, when it comes to Jurassic Park and now the Jurassic World series and that universe that's now happening, that's a glorified slasher movie. I've told you that. The best versions of Jurassic Park / Jurassic World have just really been nothing more than glorified slasher movies where the dinosaurs just, whether psychological or bordering on horror, but not, not too much on that side, just basically stalks its prey and it just picks off humans one by one by one by one until the end. That's pretty much the the painted by numbers, the cookie cutter style of pretty much every single Jurassic Park / Jurassic World that's out there. When it comes to Godzilla, which hasn't had quite the same success, it's basically all about smashing and it's a popcorn flick. And I'm still interested in really wanting. I'm still interested in seeing it. I still very much want to go ahead and check it out. But it is something that I don't have to catch right away because I don't feel I'm missing anything, and that's the problem. When it comes to the Jurassic World, aka Jurassic Park series, it seems like it's just such an event. Maybe because it was just started off by the success of Jurassic Park and it was directed by Steven Spielberg, the original one, and whatnot. It just seems like now it has evolved into such an event when those movies come out. I don't feel that same kind of vibe with the Godzilla movies. It just seems like it's a movie that came out. It's a brainless, fun popcorn flick of monsters just smashing into each other, similar to what we saw with Pacific Rim, because that, in a way, with the kaiju and all that going ahead and going off against each other in the middle of these cities and whatnot, that's all we wanted to see. You just turn your brain off as far as trying to understand any type of cohesive plot, and you just wanted to go ahead. You just wanted to go ahead and see large entities go off against each other, in the middle of some type of building structures or anything like that, and some type of city arrangement, and whatnot. So that's all we cared about. And while it works to an extent, it's obviously not paying off to the extent that I think people that want to compare it to the Jurassic World series wants to go ahead and do, because it's a different animal altogether. It's a different beast that is put together when you consider the Jurassic series, because that to me is more like a glorified horror movie or a glorified slasher movie where and it's a different psychology to it that is more appealing to a wider base and wider audience than what you see out of what is available now with Godzilla and currently Godzilla King of the Monsters.
Okay, so it's not the human aspect. It's
No, it's
more
just like
the
it's just a mindless popcorn flick. I think that's what my kids see it as, something that they could probably catch on TV. With me, I liked it just because of the fact that the trailer drew me in. I had zero desire to see it on beforehand when we were doing our movie previewing, when we were doing our 2019 movie preview or anything like that. I had zero interest to see it beforehand because I've been let down on the past previous two occasions when it comes to Godzilla movies. So, this one looks like it's critically the best out of all the Godzilla movies that have been made. But at this point, it's still just for all intents and purposes, it's a glorified popcorn flick of just monsters destroying buildings and monsters destroying each other that I think a lot of people, well, I know my girls can afford to miss.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it appeals. Different things appeal to different people. You know, you have like to me, I'm a huge fan of the Brendan Fraser Mummy movies, right? Because to me, those are the perfect popcorn flick. I can sit down, don't have to think about it, don't have to get into any of the philosophies of it all. And it seems like Godzilla does have a little like environmental message in there, so you have to probably sit there and think about what's going on with that. But um, so I don't know. So do you think that there needs to be not it needs to not be a popcorn flick, but it needs to not but the human aspect of it doesn't matter. So
You talked about it on our Friday show, and I hope everybody gets a chance to check out our latest PCZ Multiverse. You actually said you were looking for something with more depth, with a story that you could relate to, that ties possibly a Godzilla universe together in some form or fashion. Because you even said it yourself, if Godzilla is facing against all the other monsters in Godzilla King of the Monsters, then where's there to go? What is there left to do? Sure, there's going to be a Godzilla versus King Kong, but it's clearly going to have King Kong at the forefront and Godzilla on the side as sort of like a supporting character because the performances that Godzilla's had, where it's this movie that generates just enough income to warrant a sequel, but not much more.
yeah, see that's true. Well, okay. On Netflix, there's an anime called Godzilla King of the Monsters. And in that there is a story. Like there's it's not a great story, but it's got some layers to it to where you're not just trying to release Godzilla from the Marianas Trench and hoping that he's going to take care of Mothra for you. There's like a legitimate story because the moment that the humans and Godzilla start teaming up with each other is the moment that you're going to lose favor with people. You know, I guess like if you look at Jurassic Park, what keeps that interesting all the time is the fact that the dinosaurs are always trying to eat the people. And on here, you have Godzilla going, okay, well, I'm going to save humanity and then I'm going to go back to the sea because I'm king of the monsters. So, you're removing that aspect of it. And you're also, like I did say on Friday, you're having him face all these monsters at once. And it doesn't lay the foundation for a good story going forward. And, um, like I said, I'm hopeful that there are other storytellers out there that could maybe move it in a different direction after this.
I'm hopeful that that could be the case, but I clearly at this point in time don't see much of a depth to anything beyond what Godzilla King of the Monsters is representing. So I find it difficult, even if the movie makes enough money to warrant a sequel, on where it will go. I really thought about what you said on our Friday show about the depth and the future of the franchise. And you're right. If you go ahead and have a Godzilla face off against all these other monsters, whether or not you defeat them, whether or not he defeated them, whether or not he battled against them, what have you. But it looks like he battles off against all the other well-known monsters within this monster franchise. Then where is it that it can go in the future? And it looks like even if it makes money to warrant a sequel, that it's going to be hard pressed to go ahead and find some type of narrative that's going to catch people again and have them going to theaters. So it looks like you said in the past, that there is going to be the only time we're going to see Godzilla coming up in the near future is if as if he plays a side character to King Kong, because King Kong right now is the more promotable property. It is the property that is, on the paper at least, looks like it can generate more income and more people to the box office if King Kong is at the forefront of the movie and the movie is narrated and based around him as opposed to Godzilla, which is kind of a shame because I still want to see Godzilla being that monster that people want to go ahead and see. I mean, what we have, I know a lot of people out there have seen the old pictures from the old days with the old Godzilla movies and the 3D glasses and all that. And those days are romanticized. I still think of them fondly, even though I never got a chance to see it when they came out in the theaters that early because it was before. Yes, Josh, it was even before my time, but I still enjoyed watching them when I was watching them on my small black and white TV way back in the day, and checking them out when I was a little tiny kid. So I'd like to see Godzilla get some sort of reprieve, but based on
Can I interrupt you for a minute?
well, hold on. Based on this weekend's performance, I don't see that being the case.
Okay. I mean, yeah, fair enough. I just wanted to ask you when you were talking about watching Godzilla as a kid, did you watch the Godzilla 2000 movie?
Yes.
What did you think about that? Like, I thought it was okay.
I've not been in love with any of the Godzilla remakes.
No, I'm sorry, not the Matthew Broderick one, but the one that was like Godzilla 2000. It was it was like the Japanese one, dubbed, but it was marketed to America.
No, that I have not seen. That one I have not
Okay.
seen.
No,
I've just
it's a decent flick.
I've just seen the two very lackluster attempts by American film companies to go ahead and try and produce a Godzilla movie up until this point. Godzilla King of the Monsters is still something I have to see, but the reviews on that are pretty decent. So maybe that one will go ahead and enlighten me more on the Godzilla franchise and help me reminisce to my old days watching the previous Godzillas from a day gone by. But we'll have to wait and see where Godzilla's future lies because it is still unclear after a lukewarm performance for the movie this weekend at the box office. There were two other major films here at the box office, including Rocket Man, which is a biopic of Elton John in the vein of Bohemian Rhapsody, and I tell you what, even though it clearly looks like that it is thought of as a better movie critically, even though Bohemian Rhapsody was beloved by fans, very good moviegoer rating, plus also generated enough steam and also enough enthusiasm and momentum to garner itself a Best Picture nomination. But I will tell you right now, Rocketman looks like with critics that it's going to be the better movie of the two, but unfortunately, it's still not as good dynamically around the world, even though it's done very well in the UK. It did about 25 million here domestically, and right now it's still looking like it will not come anywhere near Bohemian Rhapsody, but in its own right, it should still be something that a lot of people will want to see. So hopefully, I'm hoping Taron Egerton gets the chance to become really well known because we've seen him do well in the Kingsman movies. It would be great to see him get lauded for a performance in something else, and Rocketman could be it, but it probably will not leave the same type of mark that the Bohemian Rhapsody movie made, because a lot of people were just loving that movie, even though I couldn't figure out why, because you and I both saw it and you and I didn't care for it very much. So I'm hoping for better things from Rocketman, but I just don't think it will achieve that kind of success, that worldwide linear success that Bohemian Rhapsody got, as far as the destroying the expectations and garnering worldwide acclaim and box office dollars.
Yeah, it also has the the poor misfortune of people looking at that and being like, "Oh, they're just trying to be like Bohemian Rhapsody." And that you always get that. You always get the haters, and I cannot stand that, because how many movies out there are just trying to be like whatever movie came out before that, And it's not a fair comparison. And Taron Egerton, like the guy is amazing, and like I was so afraid that Robin Hood was going to destroy his career, kind of like a John Carter situation. But no, like he bounced back. He's back in this, and I hear the Kingsman 3 is going to close his story, and that'll be cool. But yeah, I would love to see this movie do well. Like just because like my parents aren't interested in Bohemian Rhapsody. That my dad likes Queen, but this is the first like musical biopic that I've heard them both say that they are interested in watching. So Elton John is kind of like it transcends Queen because we all grew up with Elton John, right? We watched Elton John in The Lion King, or you've heard him in different movies. If you're into like the um back when he had his Southern days, right? Like he was writing music like that. Today I
Well,
bought me.
he's one of the greatest all time performers from a live and also as far as artistically, he's been able to score hit songs from the 70s, 80s, 90s, and beyond. And what's interesting here is I believe he is going to be on his last tour, his final tour, his farewell tour, pretty soon here if he's not on it already. So we're not going to be seeing as much Elton John in the future going forward. So it's nice to get that kind of look back at something that he approves because he was involved in this process the entire way, as far as the what was okay, what was not okay, and it doesn't shed always a kind light on Elton John as far as his past performances and his past choices that he made, his past life choices that he made. So I'm very happy and see that this was not something that was an unauthorized biography, that it was something that it was a biopic that Elton John was every bit a part of. And in fact, he's been helping to do the publicity for this movie along with Taron Egerton. And it looks like that it'll do okay at the box office, but it's not going to be something that even with his help that's going to achieve that mass market success that we saw from Bohemian Rhapsody.
Yeah, and again, that's just it's unfortunate. I'm curious though, like what would have made Rocket Man more successful because it has all the hits that Queen does as far as the social topics and the music and stuff like that. Maybe it's more
I think it's timing. Had that
timing.
come out
Yeah,
first and Bohemian Rhapsody come out second, I think you would have seen the opposite. I
that's a
really
good
do.
point. Yeah, it's a very good point. Yeah, I don't know. Like it's unfortunate that it's not going to do the numbers that it should, but again, like it's it has the unfortunate timing of coming out after Bohemian Rhapsody.
I mean, you called it. I mean, when you stated that there's a lot of people that are remarking the same thing. I think they're right. I think maybe you give this another 2 years of space. You would have had to put this on the shelf for maybe 2-3 years in order for it to achieve that kind of massive success, because people will have put Bohemian Rhapsody clearly in the rearview mirror. But by putting it out, less than a year after the movie Bohemian Rhapsody has been released, it only seems like it's I'm not saying a poor, or not going to say even a better. I'm just going to say it's an imitation in some form or fashion of a music biopic that is out there so soon after another one came out. And I'm not sure this is the type of genre that you could just go ahead and keep pumping those out. And not only that, but you could also state that in as far as A Star is Born. A Star is Born, even though it's a fictionalized type of deal, it still resonates a lot with fans out there as far as from a music standpoint. So even that you could throw into the mix in a weird or different kind of way that still kind of fits in with the theme of incorporating heavy amounts of music along with a narrative that, yes, in a fictional biopic sort of way, even though you do have a non-fictional biopic in Rocket Man that just came out. And at this point in time, to me, it's just too close to A Star is Born and Bohemian Rhapsody. I think the studio should have erred on the side of caution and maybe put it out maybe later this year, maybe even later than that. I think giving it some sort of breathing room would have been the case, and would have been the best case for Rocket Man. I think it would have helped to achieve I think it would have helped to have it achieve more success.
Yeah, and again, it's unfortunate. I wish it would have done a little better, and maybe it will. You know, maybe it's one of those things where when award season approaches, people look back on this despite it not doing the box office numbers, but it'll still be looked upon fondly. That would be my hope. But again, it's who knows, man? Who knows? And yeah, I'm actually curious what Elton John thinks of it. I'm actually trying to do some research on that right now. But
He was, like I said, part of the PR every single bit of the way. He and Taryn have actually performed in the past few weeks together live on stage to help promote the movie. So he is all for it. And warts and all, as far as showing his life in an unfavorable fashion, he has said that he approves of the movie 100%. In fact, he was there during the course of the shooting of the movie. There's been I've seen several videos from on the set that he has been a part of, as far as sitting right there watching what's going on. So I guess, like I said, it's probably the best way. I guess you could say it's probably the best way to have a biopic of that type. If you have the person you're trying to go ahead and have the biopic on be right there involved with the shooting and involved with the creative process.
yeah, I mean, who else would know more about Elton John than Elton John himself? That's awesome. I did not know that. I'm gonna try to Google those videos of them singing together.
There you go. Yeah, actually, happened. I think when it debuted at Cannes. I'm not 100% sure, but check the. Yeah, I did see videos of them performing together. So check that out on YouTube, where you can pretty much find everything else for that matter. But it is Rocket Man. It did okay at the box office, but it is not going to meet anywhere near what a lot of people would like to see it do, as compared to what a lot of people thought with Bohemian Rhapsody, or even if you want to compare it to A Star Is Born. It is probably going to fall short of those three, but still, it should nonetheless be thought of as a very well thought of movie critically. And last but not least, on the new movies that came out this weekend, Ma. It's another one of those low budget horror flicks that it does have a different point, a different vantage point, a different point of view. What are your thoughts on Ma actually doing pretty darn good at the box office?
Okay, so I will be honest, I did not even know this movie existed until earlier this week. But it's an intriguing plot, and it's one of those movies that it's people want a horror movie, but it's also got that appeal to teenagers, which is
It
um
certainly did a lot better than Brightburn.
yeah, well, I mean, you know, Brightburn is a movie, interesting movie, but it's not something that I think a lot of people are dying to see. But yeah, I don't know, man. Like I don't really have a lot of thoughts on this one, but I don't know. Like it's not something I'm gonna rush the movie theaters to see. Maybe check it out when it comes out. But you know, when it was pointed out to me this week, I did, you know, read up on it a little bit, and the plot is pretty intriguing. Like a mom who parties with, you know, helps the kids get wasted and stuff, and then murders them. Like that's an interesting plot, and as simple as it sounds, it's not something that has ever really been used. So that's I don't know. What are your thoughts on it?
What are my thoughts on it? I'm going to make sure, if I was underage and I was buying liquor and I wanted someone to buy me liquor, I'm sure not going to go ahead and have Octavia Spencer do it. That's for sure. Okay, because that's kind of scary. If you've seen the trailers for it, it is very scary looking. Octavia Spencer just goes ahead and commands the screen. She's an extremely gifted actress, and she does what a lot of people are talking about is a very, very good job in Ma. So the numbers are there for a movie that cost under $10 million to make. It did almost $20 million to the box office this week domestically. So things are looking pretty good for a movie like that. And unfortunately, not for Brightburn, because that took a severe tumble. So it shows that there's only room at the top for one low budget horror movie at a time. And right now, that's Ma. But it was a busy weekend at the box office. Avengers Endgame fell under $10 million at the box office this weekend. Right now, it's sitting about right now it's sitting about 70 million away. Excuse me. Right now, it's sitting about about 70 million away passing passing Avatar for the all-time lead worldwide. And I think at this point in time, the momentum has really slowed down on Avengers Endgame. And I think you can pretty much call it now that it is not going to pass Avatar at all at any point in time, unless there's such a massive surge and the momentum changes direction. I don't see it actually coming to fruition, which, to Josh and I think a lot of other people, that's a shame. But you know what? $2.7 billion at the box office. Who can argue with that? That's a great job by everyone involved. It is Avengers Endgame. It is still the number 2 all time, and it looks like it's going to stay that way. But still, an overall busy weekend out there. Just, it's a great time to go to the movies. Check out all the great stuff that's out there. We didn't even mention Aladdin and John Wick 3, which were number 2 and 4 at the box office. Which were number 2 and 5 at the box office. So if you want to go out and check out some movies today, now's the time during the summer box office season, because there's a lot of great movies out there, and we'd love to hear your thoughts. So please share us your thoughts about all the great movies that are out right now this summer. In fact, even the ones that are coming out here in the next few weeks. Let us know. Tell us your thoughts. popculturecosmos@yahoo.com. Also as well, Pop Culture Cosmos, Humanica Media, and Game Source on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram as well. Well, coming up next, we've got Rayson Chu from the Legacy Show. He's going to talk about AEW, All Elite Wrestling, and what he would do if he was in charge of All Elite Wrestling. That portion of our interview is coming up next, and you're going to hear that portion of the interview is coming up next right here on the Pop Culture Cosmos. But first, it's our good friend Carrie Music. You want to check out her music today. It is Carrie, Karrie Music. This is C Rome, and this is the Pop Culture Cosmos. Thanks so much to Rayson Chu And up next, it's Octavio and Eric Gomez previewing what is good, previewing what they would like to see for, previewing what they think is going to be upcoming for PlayStation fans at E3 2019. This is the Pop Culture Cosmos. All right, and we're back to close out the show. This is the Pop Culture Cosmos. I do want to thank Rayson Chu from the Legacy Show, Octavio and Eric Gomez from Go Brothers Gaming. Want to thank all those great people for showing up on the show today and sharing us and helping and having them share their thoughts on some outstanding pop culture subjects. Plus, Carrie Music, cannot thank her enough for sending her music along to us here at the show. If you want a listing of her music and where she's at and where you can find her great music, let us know on social media. Pop Culture Cosmos on Twitter, Pop Culture Cosmos on Instagram, or Pop Culture Cosmos on Facebook, where you can also see a listing of where we're being played at, because we're being played all around the world 7 days a week on radio, and you'll get a listing of all of our great radio stations there, plus many of our over 30 different podcasting options as well. Josh, you got a great thing going on with Humanica Media, so share the goods, my friend. What's coming up with some great things at Humanica Media?
Been a slow week, man, but I'm gonna be getting another Topic Eclipse up there, and I'm also gonna be posting some God of War footage. So I've been playing through the whole franchise, and I'm working on something in that vein. But for now, you can check out my gameplay, which will be up on the Humanican Facebook page and also Pop Culture Cosmos page.
That's right. You can find that all over our social media at Pop Culture Cosmos. Well, my friend, you wanted to talk about a Dream 3 for E3, and that is this. We want to pick our top 3 choices for games we would love to see announced upcoming at, that would be upcoming for gamers, that would be announced at E3. It could be this year, could be next year, could be any year. Doesn't matter. Just 3 games that we would love to see the most, that would be a reality. I mean, and some of these games that looks like that's probably not going to be the case, but you never know. You never know. So, Josh, I'm going to let you go first, my friend. What is your Dream 3 for E3?
Well, let me tell you my dream 3 for E3, all right?
Oh, do tell. Oh, do tell.
Oh, here we go. Here we go. Okay, so I would love to see, of course, every year on my list is Alan Wake 2. When are you going to give us Alan Wake 2? The people want it. People have spoken. Enough with the Microsoft licensing issues. Microsoft bought all these property or all these devs. Just give the people what they want. Give us an Alan Wake 2. It doesn't have to be made by Remedy. Just give us an Alan Wake 2. Okay, so for my other one, my next one here on my list, I would love to see a Final Fantasy 1 through 6 released on Switch. We got 7 through 12, but give us the rest of them. Give us the whole family because they had it on Nintendo Wii and now we can't play them because they shut down the virtual shop, right? And none of our things are transferable over to the Nintendo Switch, and that really really bothers me. So, I would love to see the whole family together because, again, I want to do some game footage of this stuff. So that would make things a little more convenient for me. All right, here's my last one. Are you ready for this? Are you sure? Okay, I want Croc 3.
I am ready. I am
Okay.
ready.
Okay. I want Croc 3. I want Croc 3 to come out. I want it to be an Xbox One, PlayStation 4, Nintendo Switch game, and I want it soon. Croc 2 came out on PlayStation and Sega Saturn, and we haven't gotten anything since. They had some junky mobile games, but give us another outing with Croc. Who knows? Croc could turn into the next Spyro. That's all I'm saying. Because Croc was originally designed to be a Yoshi game, right? And then they reskinned him, turned him into a crocodile. And I have some great memories with that game. And I would love to see Croc make his way into the new generation of consoles. Croc and his Gobos. I would love to see all of them, popping their heads up in the modern world. So that's probably not going to happen, but I would love to see Croc 3. Okay, so here's my honorable mentions. I got Fable 4, which is likely to be announced. God of War 2, maybe we'll see something. Crimson Skies 2. Do you remember that one on Xbox 360? Or not 360, Xbox, or just regular Xbox. Good game. A lot of praise. Didn't really see anything else
Will
from
that one
it.
come out with a headset too in your dreams?
It did come. Yeah, how'd you know?
Dude, I lived it, man.
Oh, it's such a good game. Okay, so and these ones are mostly just my inner nerd wanting these games to come back. Legend of Legaia remake. I really loved that game when I was a kid. I was actually thinking about that on my drive home today. Brave Fencer Musashi remake, and I would love to see the Mass Effect trilogy just not even remastered or remade. I would just like to see them put out on the Xbox One. But wait, Gerald, Jer, what is your Dream 3 wish list? Sorry, I was running out of like weird names to call you right there, so forgive me for that.
And I've been called a lot of weird I've been called a lot of weird names in my lifetime. That's okay. All
But
right.
tell me, what is your Dream 3 wish list?
All right, my dream 3 for E3. Well, let's start off with my honorable mention, and let's go with, I'm such a huge Uncharted fan. So, Uncharted 5, which would be probably when that is ever announced. And I think it's going to be announced at some point in time. Naughty Dog is going to have to work on it after the unfortunate delay of The Last of Us 2. At some point in time, they're going to probably get back into the Uncharted series, and that's probably going to involve the daughter of Nathan Drake and Elena Drake. So that'll probably be coming up at some point in time. And then an Oblivion remake, a reimagining of Elder Scrolls 4 or Oblivion, because that is the best of the Elder Scrolls games, in my opinion. It's my opinion only. But it is the best of the Elder Scrolls game, in my opinion. The Elder Scrolls games, in my opinion. And I just think that an Oblivion remake, a reimagining to sharper graphics, maybe less bugs, can still make this game really, really enjoyable to a larger audience that is not familiar with the game because the game came out in 2006. So if it were reimagined and redone, HD graphics, a little bit more to the story, even more to the tremendous amount of DLC that you can get for it, it would be awesome if Oblivion had that kind of love once again, because I think it is somewhat forgotten, and it shouldn't be so because it was just well thought of at that point in time in the mid 2000s for the Xbox 360. So
It's
that's just me.
funny. It's funny because that game, Skyrim, gets modded just the bejesus out of it, but you don't see a lot of people going back and modding Oblivion, like updating it. Like, we see there's a small studio working on a remake of Oblivion, but it'll probably never get released, so it'll probably never see the light of day. But it's just funny how that one's not as praised as Skyrim is, but it's such a great game and it's such a massive world. I think the world that's in Oblivion almost feels bigger than Skyrim. I know the big complaint was that the Oblivion towers were difficult, but it's an excellent game.
Loved it. Played over 100 and some odd hours in it, and I truly enjoyed it. Actually about a year, 2 years ago, I went back into it and played another 30, 40 hours into it. And it just would be awesome for me. At least that's me anyways. Just, to hear Patrick Stewart again as the king, enter Oblivion. So just to hear that, engage number one, and all that. So that would be my honorable mentions. And my dream 3 for E3 is going to be Mass Effect 4. I know you talked about a trilogy. I would love to see Mass Effect trilogy as well, but since we're not repeating each other, I want to see a new Mass Effect come out, and that's going to involve Shepard, hopefully again, Fem Shep or Male Shep, doesn't matter to me, but returning back to our type of dimension, our stratosphere, our part of space, and dealing with that once again, because that was truly an awesome experience for the 3 Mass Effects that we had before. We're not even going to mention what happened with Mass Effect Andromeda because that was a travesty and that was just failure waiting to happen. But bring back home the Mass Effect series into its proper place and time frame, and hopefully we can go ahead and get something done as far as that's concerned. There's also Left 4 Dead 3. I understand that World War Z just came out and it has a lot of similarities to it, but to see a Left 4 Dead 3 that is truly that's just truly a fun game, just truly a hectic game, and even to this day, it still favors comparably to a World War Z or many other zombie shoot 'em ups that are out there as far as Left 4 Dead 2. And I would love to see Valve, who I understand is doing great with all their other things that they're doing because they're doing so much other things than making games these days. Would love to see them get back into making games with Left 4 Dead 3. And then also, last but not least, and this one I threw you off on, and well, yeah. And last but not least, I would like to go ahead and say the Rainbow Six series has been very good these days as far as for the past few years. The latest rendition of the Rainbow Six series has done very well. It can't start off pretty good, but it has generated with the DLC and with the kind of continual fan base and player base that's out there. Operators have come out and more and more and more, and has continued to be a successful property. The latest rendition of Rainbow Six, I think right now a Rainbow Six Vegas 2, bringing that classic back in some form or fashion, either a remake or a new entry into the Rainbow Six Vegas type of scheme, would be probably a great way to enhance the Rainbow Six series even more.
Oh, yeah, yeah. I mean, so what I remember about Rainbow Six is that Vegas was okay, like people liked it, and then
Vegas was more than okay.
there's something they did after that that wasn't so great. What was it? Was there
I
something?
forget. Yeah, I think there was something in between. I know Rainbow Six Patriots was a game that was in development that a lot of people were hoping for that never came out. I'd have to look that up. Hold on. I shouldn't say, okay, Rainbow Six Vegas 3. Rainbow Six Vegas 3 is what they should do because Rainbow Six Vegas 2 came out. So I really think that a Rainbow Six Vegas 3 would probably be something I would look forward to. And that's something that I really hope would come to fruition because I'd like to see them delve into the world of Rainbow Six Vegas one more time. But you're right. Rainbow Six series was dormant for such a long time until Rainbow Six Siege, and it looks like at this point in time, will we see something again? I'm not so sure we're going to see it right away because Ubisoft has a lot on their plate. Plus, also as well, Rainbow Six Siege is still doing well and has a great player base. So I don't think you're going to see anything soon. But if they do decide to go back to the Rainbow Six series, I would love them. I would love them to see I would love to see a Rainbow Six Vegas 3 to see, just trying to just seal off that entire trilogy, and that would be to me a great way to finish off that part of the series.
Yeah. Sorry. I'm trying to remember. That's a online only one, right? That's multiplayer only. Yeah. Because I have friends who really enjoyed playing that series, and it would be a shame to see it not come back in some form or fashion. It's weird because the Tom Clancy games have yet to find their Call of Duty, and for that it's unfortunate, but they have so many things up in the air where Call of Duty just has Call of Duty and they throw it out there and it sells a bunch of copies. So it'd be nice to see something come out that's in favor of a Tom Clancy game, whether it's Rainbow Siege or Rainbow Six or Ghost Recon or whatever it is. I would just like to see that franchise do something. Have something that lasts and lasts and lasts.
I agree with you on that. Yeah, just something that they can continuously go on because yes, they do. They have yes. Does Ubisoft have more high profile type of games that they want to go ahead and promote? The Far Cry series, the Assassin's Creed series. You could even say the Division. They've even given more love to than the Rainbow Six series. Yes, but to me, the Rainbow Six series has had a nice had a nice player base for a long time, and I think if you continue on with another iteration of Rainbow Six Vegas and make it a Rainbow Six Vegas trilogy, that would truly close off the entire arc on a great note. And my hopes are that a Rainbow Six Vegas 3 that has the spirit of the original Rainbow Six Vegas that was very widely thought of at the time would hopefully come to fruition. And I'd like to see that. Come to fruition at some point in time at an E3 down the road. What is your dream game for E3? What is your dream game that you would love to see announced at an upcoming E3, whether it's 2019, 2020, or so on? Share us your thoughts, popculturecosmos@yahoo.com. Also as well, Pop Culture Cosmos, Humanica Media, and Game Source on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram as well. All right, my friend, it's been a great episode. Once again, I do want to thank Rayson Chu from the Legacy Show. You got to check out his great show on Anchor and Apple Podcasts, among others. Carry Music for providing more awesome music, and Octavio and Eric Gomez from Go Brothers Gaming. Check out their social media so you can follow whatever events that they're doing here in the Las Vegas area. Any last thoughts on the way out, my friend?
No, like I said, I still want to do a gaming preview. So after E3, we'll get that hammered down, and we need to discuss our plans for E3. Are we going to do some recordings after the big announcements? We'll keep you guys posted.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. We will keep you posted on everything that's going on at E3. We're going to have 4 great team members down there, including Josh, Jamie, Tony, and Chad Smith. Also, will be down there. They're going to be having a lot of fun. Jamie and Tony Monroy and Chad Smith from Hyperschmidt. They'll all be down there having a great time at E3. Hopefully, they're going to have some podcasts and some great interviews down there. Podcasts sharing their thoughts on what they saw at E3, plus also some great interviews as well, and a lot more is coming up. More interviews, more news, more information. Just keep following us. just keep going ahead. If you can, like us, subscribe to us, do anything you can to keep up with us right here at the Pop Culture Cosmos, because it is truly appreciated. And a big special shout out to our largest venue that listens to our shows on Anchor FM, on Anchor Podcasts. I cannot thank enough the people that listen to us on Anchor, Podbean as well, and all of our different podcast outlets, all of our different podcast and radio outlets. So for Josh Peterson, this is Gerald Glassford. It's another beautiful day in paradise right here in the Pop Culture Cosmos. We thank you for listening. And here's hoping you have yourself a great day.